Oh, hey, I didn't hear you come in. Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story, one steamy minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I'm Tony Thaxton. I do a bunch of things, but I'll say my podcast, Bizarre Albums, is that one's just me, and I got the lounge this season, so all about me.
Welcome back, Tony. Glad we could have you.
Thank you.
We're talking about minute 3 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute 3 starts off with orphans running through the alleyways of Corellia, and ends a minute later with Han Solo boasting that he stole a bunch of merchandise, totaling 500 to 600 credits. Easy.
Yeah, these urchins, these
scrappy street urchins, Cockney street urchins.
Oh, it's a mix, right? One is and one isn't, kind of. I don't know.
It seems weird because I almost brought this up on the Book of Boba Fett. There is that in the Book of Boba Fett, the mods all have like Cockney British accents. So it seems like anytime you have street urchins in Star Wars, they're kind of, and I guess.
Well, I feel like that was a choice because they're trying to be more. They're rurals trying to be more urban. So as we all know, the kind of cities, the Imperial standard kind of cities are more.
So you're saying they're
British
faking their Cockney
right?
accents?
Oh, it's affected. I don't know if it's faking is the right word, but.
Okay. But yes, we
here,
do see some street urchins.
These urchins, it does seem a little bit like I was thinking of like Oliver, and that's the idea that they're going for, is that they were trying to make this a very kind of Dickensian thing, but it seems a little bit too much like a musical here.
Annie.
Right. Yeah.
Little Annie?
The official guide refers to them as scrum rats.
Scrum rats?
Scrum rats.
That will come up again, I think. They use that.
I believe someone calls Han a scrum rat then.
Yeah.
We also learned that they go ahead, Pete. What were you saying?
No. Go ahead.
We also learned that, like, back on Jakku, they have a portion-based economy. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get 20 portions for this or whatever." They refer to portions, don't they? You guys are both looking at me like I'm making this up, but they definitely refer to portions. Portions.
Hey, everybody, portions. I didn't catch that, but it could be.
I didn't either. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just didn't remember that catching my ear.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe I was just hungry. That's when I was like, "Oh, I could go for a portion of
the two different scrum rats turn into like a hot dog and a side of beef talking to each other.
A space hot dog. Are hot dogs in Star Wars?
Hot dogs in space.
Surely sausages must have come up in Star Wars. Probably not hot dog specific.
I don't know. Let's see keep talking while I look up sausages.
All right.
It's like is a hot dog a sandwich? Are hot dogs in Star Wars? That's this show's version of is a hot dog a sandwich.
Sausage was a meat product that existed during the reign of the Galactic Empire. One known sausage variant was spicy Argez sausage. Temin Wexley, Snap Wexley, that is.
Of course, Snap Wexley sausages come up in his entry.
He would sometimes bring his aunts, Esmel and Shireen, spicy Argez sausages when delivering their weekly groceries. What
Argel sausages?
The Legends tab for sausage is big.
Wow.
Behind the scenes, how the sausages are made. Behind the scenes, sausages, as mentioned in universe, are the same as real world sausages. So,
that's good to know.
In Dex's Diner on Coruscant, Klatooine Patty Frog sausages were served in Hungry Hut breakfast sandwiches.
Patty Frog?
Klatooine Patty Frog sausages. They were served in the Hungry Hut breakfast sandwich.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack in that one.
And this is at Dexter's Diner?
At Dexter's Diner, but in Legends,
in Cocoa Town?
I'm not sure. That's the one. Oh, you've been there.
You must have branched out by now.
All right, back to what sausages. It's not
portion
not
based
appearing
economy
in this movie. But yes, we meet these Dickensian space urchins.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet Qi'ra.
Qi'ra, Queen of the Dragons.
Now, yes, Qi'ra, played by Emilia Clarke, who is best known to most people, even at this point, as when this came out, it was pretty much all she was known for being, as far as I can recall.
She was in a Terminator, wasn't she?
A Daenerys Targaryen.
I thought she played a Sarah Connor in a Terminator movie.
Yeah, I don't know if that was before or after Solo.
Right.
But I think Daenerys Targaryen was apparently her third role, like ever, her third professional like acting role, and so that's speaking of jumping the line. But she's well received in things. I don't think anybody's just like, nobody thinks that she's terrible. Nobody thinks that she's undeserving. She's just kind of in things, and she's like, all right.
Well, this is the internet, so someone surely thinks she's terrible.
Yeah,
but
somebody thinks everything is terrible.
Yeah.
But
there is somebody who thinks that everything is terrible, and there is somebody who thinks that nothing is terrible. But in between, there's a lot of lot of gray zone there. I got no beef with
sausage.
It's the same as real world sausages.
But that's Legends. Legend has it. It's the same as real world sausage. Canon, who knows what that sausage is?
I think she's good in this role. I don't think
Yeah.
So.
Also, I did not realize. Now I forget where it was. If it was in the guide or what. Apparently, she's only supposed to be 18.
Well,
Here?
how old is Harrison Ford? How old is Han
yeah.
Solo supposed to be in this scene? Do you think? Is he?
I think they're both supposed to be pretty young, right?
That's why they keep the light so low, so they
right.
pretend that these.
Qi'ra, let me point out first, Qi'Ra. There's a strange place for the apostrophe.
It sounds like a Klingon name with a Q and an apostrophe in it. That's like.
Yeah.
She must have Klingon blood somewhere down in her line.
She was born 31 BBY. So what year is this?
This is 13 BBY. So she's 18 then.
There you go. And how old is Han Solo? Is
I'm going to assume he's probably around the same, because he was about 35 in Star Wars, so he was probably 20 maybe. 20.
So let's see. He's being born 32 BBY.
32 BBY.
So he's 1 year older.
Tony, you had a question?
No, we're good.
Okay.
You're like, what is all this BBY talk?
I want to point out the sheer coincidence, the fact that Tony and I both have red and blue snaggletooths on our shirts.
Oh, look at that.
At this time.
I mean, you're responsible for this, really.
Hey,
it's your responsibility now.
Yeah, it is. It's true. So
and I have a blue snaggletooth here on my desk. Look at that.
Oh, wow, that's weird.
Ooh.
See?
They say when 3 blue snaggletooths.
You have a blue one.
It's actually in a little bin because I just cleared off my desk to start the season, and I put everything in a little bin next to it. But it'll be back on my desk shortly.
Yeah. So as soon as we see Qi'ra, they instantly start making out in the alleyway here.
I mean, sure, wouldn't you?
Well, I was curious as to what the. I'm not. I'm just curious about the filmmakers. Why? What was their? Like, what did they try to? Why include
Ron Howard is sitting there and going like, "Now kiss," and all that serious cinematographer guy and all that, they were all like, "Ooh."
No, but so why include it? It's so, or is it? I guess it's a very quickly way of establishing that they have a relationship together.
Right.
But it almost seems like a way of kind of splashing water on people's faces about like undermining their expectations, because I think in everyone's minds they're kind of like, Leia is the one. Like, Leia is the one that he is destined to be with, and that's like his great love of his life. Obviously, the sequels kind of
right.
But so it almost makes it feel like it's a kind of way of breaking from that as quickly as possible. Just being like a way of telling the audience, like, this is not what you.
I mean, like, but that's all. It's all because they cut Jenny out of Star Wars. If Jenny had been in Star Wars still, then this would have been like, oh yeah, cool. Like, everybody would have just been
right. We would have known that Han Solo was a ladies' man, and that
right. Which I think, I mean, that's I think this is totally within the scope of his character.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's totally within the scope of his character.
So I don't find it shocking, other than the fact that like there's somebody that he's. You mean the part that he's like interested in somebody for a relatively long-term relationship, or just the fact that he's
it's
somebody at all.
It's the fact that you're seeing him kiss anyone else at all.
Right.
If all you're used to seeing him, all you are comfortable thinking of is him kissing Princess Leia. Like it doesn't build up to them fall. Like you don't get to know Qi'ra along the way, and then they kiss, and you're like, okay, this seems
right.
It's like seeing your ex kissing somebody else. It's kind of like a weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much of a big thing of it, but I thought it was a curious choice to have it literally be the first interaction between them they kiss. I mean, it's a very effective storytelling technique because it conveys the information very quickly that they are in the, it's obviously not their first kiss. They've obviously been, they're in a relationship. So,
right.
Anywho.
Well, let me talk about Qi'ra for a second.
Good.
Because Qi'ra is another one of those names that were just kicking around in George Lucas's list of things for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Qi'ra was originally, Qi'ra with a K, K-I-R-A, was the original name given to the character that became Rey.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from George Lucas's notes for the sequel trilogy. When he sold off the franchise and he handed over okay, here's what I think was going to happen. The Rey character was called Qi'ra, K-I-R-A. Although then, I don't know if in that iteration or then in later iterations of the development of Solo, for a while she was an alien. And
I guess they're both technically aliens.
Well, yeah. I don't know. But I mean, she was more of the designs for that alien that she was going to be ended up becoming a different character that we see briefly. And that character looks kind of more like Borg Queen or like Ventress or something. And I don't know that would be. I think it's a wise choice not to make that character the love interest in this movie.
Why is that?
Just because that doesn't look the design that they came up with for that character, the one that ends up on screen. And granted, it would have been different. Probably doesn't look as interesting to me.
You think it should have been more like Therm Scissor Punch type?
Oh man, if
you think we'll ever see that a human in love with a totally grotesque alien?
A little bit with Grumgar and Bazine in Maz's castle.
That big monster guy and that lady.
Yeah.
But they're both kind of, I mean, she is, but I mean like a character that we are, like a main character.
Mm-hmm. You're saying that Grumgar is not a main character?
I don't think he is. Does he even move beyond just maybe like burping or something? I assume that thing is just more of a puppet than a.
Hey, you clicked on the Wikipedia page for Bazine for a little while. Do you know that she had interactions with Lady Proxima later on?
That doesn't surprise me at all, the slightest.
But where's Grumgar? Yeah, I can't think of it. I think we need more of that. Yeah, I would love it if it was a weird alien, or even just like Gamora or Nebula, something where it's just like alienish enough.
Yeah.
But basically like a person. But just the weird, I don't know, the just, like I said, just making them kind of like oddly pale and bald just looks a little, I don't know. I don't think that would have been able to support the people's interests. Nothing against pale bald people. I love pale bald people, but
thank you.
I mean, you were talking about that before we recorded today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, so that's weird kind of path to arrive at Qi'ra.
Qi'ra.
Q-I''RA. Now, I mean, there are letters missing.
Is this the first time that we hear Coaxium?
Yes. Does she mention it in this one, or is it tomorrow's minute? That's in this minute, right?
It was not in the Last Jedi. Now, the Last Jedi had a fuel-based storyline,
right? But they don't say.
They never mentioned.
I don't think
we
so.
need to get more Coaxium or.
No, I don't. I don't think it's by name. Coaxium, also known as Hyperfuel. Hyperfuel is the brand name, I guess.
So is it like dark matter where it's a tiny bit can like power a huge ship?
Yeah, because it's hypermatter.
Because that retroactively makes Last Jedi even more frustrating. The fact that Finn and it was that they were being traced, but they were running out of fuel also, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but they could have just gone somewhere and picked up a small vial of
or had
Coaxium and made a jump.
Finn and anyway.
Anyway, let's not
talk about the Last Jedi. We're talking about Attack of the Clones.
Last Jedi.
Let's get.
Yeah, Coaxium, aka it's weird that they say it's an odd choice to say hyperfuel in the crawl in all caps, and then once we start actually talking about it, we're calling it something else entirely.
Yeah,
that is strange.
Like, why not in the crawl say stuff like coaxium? You know,
more economical to have it be the same word both times,
right? Mm-hmm. And at least we know what we're talking about. But they don't. I guess later we say. Or it is in this. Does she say no? She just mentions its worth, not what it does, right? In this, well, when they're huddling between today's minute and tomorrow's minute.
That was Lord and Miller wanted to call it coaxium. Ron Howard wanted to call it hyperfuel.
What is this coaxium? Hyperfuel. That's my Ron Howard impersonation.
Oh, you didn't have to explain.
The coaxium was first mentioned in. You guys aren't going to guess.
Are you telling us we're not going to guess?
I'm telling you, you're not going to guess.
We're not allowed.
You're not allowed. First appearance of Coaxium was in Choose Your Destiny, a Han and Chewie adventure.
Classic.
So it's like a choose your own adventure book about Han and Chewie.
It is a legally distinct thing from a choose your own adventure book.
Your adventure can be chosen, but that's not the type. It's a choose your destiny book.
Yes. I assume is this a promotional book that came out with this movie?
Yeah, April 17th, 2018. So.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Mere technicality that it's first mentioned in that.
Right.
But yes, Coaxium, aka Hyperfuel. In its raw, unrefined state, it's very volatile and highly explosive substance. We'll find out about that. But yeah, it does seem like it's weird. These weird little crystals that can do magical things.
MacGuffin crystals.
Yeah. But do they? So at the end of this minute ends with her telling you how much it's worth.
500-600 credits. Easy.
Oh, no, Han Solo is saying that, right?
Yeah, Han Solo says 500-600 credits easy,
which doesn't seem like that much.
Well, but I could illustrate how poor they are. The fact that even 600 credits is. I was wondering that once Ken Burns does his Empire documentary, I hope they address the economics of the Empire and like how Palpatine managed to keep, financially keep the Empire afloat. Because in A New Hope, we hear about credits, but it's only 1,000 credit
right.
We don't get anything. You can
almost buy your own ship for 10,000.
Like we don't know how much the droids cost, for instance.
Right.
So we can't really say how much a ship costs versus. So I really don't know if 600 credits. This is 600 credits. 13 is there inflation in the Empire? Like, could they buy their own ship for 600 credits at this point, and then later on, by the time inflation has skyrocketed so much that now it costs 10,000 to buy a ship.
Well, I mean, if you match it up, so like at the time, 10,000, you could almost buy your own car for that.
I
don't think you could buy a car. You could buy a car for less than 10,000 if you don't care about what. If you're just getting a regular car, if you're not getting a new car, if you're buying a used car from somebody, you could easily get a car for 10,000.
Right.
So, but then and you could also fly places for $500 or $600. You could fly two people a lot of places. Right?
For $600. So you're trying to come up with a dollar for dollar equivalency?
I'm trying to map it to. Can we map it to Ethereum or Bitcoin or something? Can we what's the crypto equivalent of? How
many NFTs credits do I need to buy to buy a ship?
Somebody should do we pull out all of the. There are going to be places where it's going to be, I don't know if I want all the canonical sources. Like, we don't need all the comics and novels and all that, but at least on-screen appearances of money. Like, how much
actual
are they talking
denominations.
About? Yeah, like whenever they say that a dollar or a credit amount of, this is going to cost X, this is going to, and map it all along a timeline, and we can see what things cost.
Try to figure it out, because they don't really generally give specific numbers. Boosh demands 10,000, no less, for Chewbacca. Is it 10,000, no less?
I thought it was, isn't it 20 or 50?
50,000? 50, I think.
50.
Wow.
Yeah, 50 sounds right.
That bounty hunter really has guts coming in.
It's kind of scum. Yeah, 50,000, no less.
Wow.
I can't really think of anybody saying numbers besides her, and then Han saying 10,000.
So for the price of Chewbacca, you could have bought 4 ships or 5 ships.
for the bounty on Chewbacca.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Han's, I assume, was more.
Right? Yeah, I would assume so. Although the amount of difficulty involved in capturing a Wookiee, I don't know.
Yeah,
but then remember, that's the Boosh is upping the price,
right?
Making it a thing.
So many unanswered questions.
But yes.
Anything else for minute number 3?
Minute 3. It's like a musical. 500-600 credits. I think that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah, I didn't have much on this one.
Now, Alex, this is one of the there was a while we were covering movies that we saw together, and this is one of the ones where we didn't see together. I mentioned I saw it at a drive-in. I'll come back to that story probably at some point. Yeah. But where did you see it? Did you see this with your brother?
No. Well, I saw it twice. The first time I saw it, I went solo.
Oh.
No one else wanted to go in the middle of the day on opening day to go see Solo. I saw it at a theater here in Portland. I think it was the 82nd Street. The theater over there, in case you're keeping score at home. I remember going into it feeling not quite foreboding, but like I remember the word was out that everyone was like this wasn't going to go well. Like I had no trouble buying tickets the day of to go see it on opening day, which for a Star Wars movie, usually even the daytime screenings are filled with people. So when I went there, the theater was not fully packed, and I was like, this is very unsettling in a weird way. Like, it did not have the same energy of an opening day of a Star Wars movie. So, yeah, that was it. Something left. I don't really remember having much, it was about what I guess going in with lower expectations, I went in kind of being like, okay, it was about what I was expecting. So,
that met my low expectation.
Yeah, so I wasn't disappointed. So you saw it at a drive-in, Pete.
I did. Yeah, we went with some friends because I wanted to take my kids to go see it because it was the only time that, this is when I lived in New York. Here we have drive-ins year-round, as Tony knows. We can just go to the drive-in whenever we want.
Tony knows.
Yeah, I know. I've been to one once in the 15 years I've lived here.
But it was the only time, since the original, not since the original trilogy, but since the I guess since Disney took over, since they became Christmas movies, they weren't showing at the drive-in.
Right.
But now this one was coming out Memorial Day weekend, so it was going to be at the drive-in, and so I took advantage of that because that was, one of my earliest memories of seeing Star Wars at the drive-in as a kid, and so I took my kids to go see it. It was it was a good experience. I think that helped with the fun. I think I liked it more having seen it in a drive-in because it was just like a fun.
Drive-ins definitely add a novelty factor that can make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, and then I went back and saw it again in a theater.
Yeah,
so I could be like, was there a worm in the beginning? I don't even. But it's overall, I think that
the second time I saw it, I saw it with my brother, and he really liked it. So it's always good going with my brother because he's like a much more super casual, regular person kind of fan. Yeah. So he's
not weighed down by the the bulk of the.
It's the closest to what I imagine when people say, "Oh, they watch a show with their kids," and that makes them like the show more,
right?
Because they see their kid enjoying it, and then that makes them be more forgiving of. So
that's what I do think that this movie, for people that are much more casual fans or barely fans, like if they watched this, I feel this kind of goes with my argument of like it could have been another character that wasn't Han Solo. I feel like those people that I know that are just like extremely casual, like left being like, that was really fun, I like this movie, like and really like and are defenders of this movie,
right?
Yeah.
No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah, right.
So. Well, all right. I guess that'll wrap up minute number 3. And before we go, I want to call everyone's attention to our lovely closing theme this season. This was a song performed by the Underdog Night Soldiers. Some of you might recognize the lead singer is my brother, Andy Robinson. So,
speaking of the devil.
So
speaking of that person who enjoyed seeing Solo in the theater,
yes.
there he is.
You can hear his positivity in all the lyrics for the closing theme. So enjoy that, and you can find this song and all of the Underdog Night Soldiers stuff wherever you can download music these days, be it Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. So go check that out.
Napster? Are they on Napster?
You'll have to check. Hold on.
I love the irony of Napster being the now the most moral choice. I mean, it always was in a sense, but
so do that. Sign up for Napster and join us here tomorrow on another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.